What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Chris, as always, Liam. And today we are diving into episode 3 of Dune Prophecy. And if you guys are just tuning in for the first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button. This whole series is about just chatting about things we love. Dune Prophecy happens to be one of them, or Dune in general. I'm a big nerd about it. Liam, not so much. And so we're just excited to chat about it. Liam gets to ask a lot of questions. I get to fill in with what I know, and you guys get to chime in the comments. So without further ado, let's start the discussion on episode 3. What do you think, brother?
This is another one that had me a little lost. I felt like the flash forwards and flashbacks could have been just slightly more obvious at times because I'm still learning faces. Yeah, it takes me a long time to learn faces and names. So when they're going back to old and younger versions, it's like, damn it, mental calculations, who's who? What was that name again?
You know what's funny is that when you say that, the very first time I ever watched The Witcher on Netflix, I had no idea that there was going to be these dramatic time jumps happening throughout the whole thing. So I'm just sitting there like, what am I watching? Like, what is going on right now? I have no idea. And then I might have sobered up a little bit and I realized like, oh, these are time jumps. That makes way more sense. But I get it. You're newly introduced to a universe that is massive. And what we're dealing with right now inside of the Dune Prophecy series on HBO isn't necessarily even the things that people who read Dune itself or even the Dune series would know, because this is based, a lot of what I understand, this is based on works that came after, which is kind of like a trilogy based on the schools, right? So there's one about the Bene Gesserit, there's one about the Mentats, and there's one about the Spacing Guild. And then a lot of what we just learned is actually like takes place in that book, or the one about the Bene Gesserit, like the Sisterhood of Dune. So like, this is like obscure. You like have to really want to know about this to know about this kind of stuff. So it makes sense that the average viewer would be like, what the hell is going on? But I am a little, like, not confused, but interested in the fact that like, you're still not connecting the faces to the people, because at this point we've had tons and tons of time with them. And so like the Harkonnen sisters should be very clear to you who they are by now. And that's who we really dealt with in this episode. Now, there were a couple of times in this episode where they purposely let us on not to know something until the very end, which was like when we go back to Caladan and they're on that like hunting trip. And she's like with her new boyfriend, Tula. And we don't really know that they're all Atreides until the very end.
Was it Ori?
Something like that, yeah. Like, so that was supposed to, like we were supposed to get misled down that. So we're not supposed to know that. But for most part now, when it comes to like the Harkonnen and that family, we just got a huge deep dive into that backstory. So is it after the episode was over, is it more of a connection to you now because there's more pieces put together?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. I really enjoyed Tula's story.
Yeah.
Like, she was this innocent, mostly innocent, corrupted by her sister a bit, and the loss of her brother.
I was gonna say, I think her sister really manipulates her grief and uses that to her advantage.
Because she's talking to her the whole time like, just be happy with what you got. Shit. That's how it started. And then pretty soon she's murdering like a whole village of people.
Yeah, except for one. Apparently, he gets to live on to carry on the name and the feud.
He was giving me, what was it, the dude's name? Brandon vibes from Game of Thrones? The one in the wheelchair?
That is Brandon Stark, yeah. But there's a reason why that particular actor gives you Game of Thrones vibes. He's the Tully kid, Oscar Tully, in House of Dragons that we just watched.
That makes sense.
He's the kid that like gets in Damon's face. Remember how he's like trying to like get the kid to kill his uncle, but he won't do it. But then his uncle dies, so he comes back, and all of a sudden he's like a man. And he's like getting all up, and yeah, that's the same kid.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah, so that's why that connection's happening. He is from House of Dragon.
My brain subconsciously picked it up.
Yeah.
All right, that makes way more sense.
I'm noticing, obviously, the uncle is Robert Baratheon in Game of Thrones, right? So the uncle in the Harkonnen in this episode. So there were a couple of cameos from the Game of Thrones universe, the House of Dragons universe in this episode. And I even said it on our last time. I have a feeling, because HBO does so well with a certain type of show, that we are going to see like Dune basically become like a space Game of Thrones, which is unfortunate because I really like the Dune universe for being the Dune universe, and the Game of Thrones universe has its own appeal for its own reasons. So I just wish they would keep them separate, but that's just my own thing. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. One thing that I thought was upsetting is that well, yeah, right. There's a couple. That was one of them, is the Game of Thrones thing. But the other thing I found very upsetting, and it keeps coming up time and time again for me because of the show runtime. We only have 6 episodes. We are officially halfway through, and we've got almost no time with anybody besides the Harkonnen, like really the Harkonnen sisters, really. Like, we've got a lot of Valya and Tula and their backstories and what's going on in the Sisterhood, but we have almost nothing on Desmond still. We don't know, like, if he's a Talak Sugola, if he's some sort of face dancer, if he was truly blessed by Shai Hulud with these abilities, if he's some sort of, artificial intelligence, AI. Is he using poison? Is he using nanobots? Like, how is he doing this mysterious burn you from the inside thing?
Wasn't Valya asking those questions also? Like, was he really in the worm? Did the gods really give him a gift?
Yeah,
You say that.
I mean, there's definitely a lot of mystery around how he is the way he is, and no one can solve it, right? And so I would be interested more in that, and less in, I do want to see more of the backstories of the major families. I did enjoy this episode. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed this episode. It was slow, but I enjoyed it because it did give us some of the foundation for more of what we needed to move forward. However, I also think that, like, not even giving us a hint at what Desmond was or anything of it in the episode was kind of a letdown, especially since we only have, we have a very short run of 6 episodes. So that was like my one big beef, is like, when you only have 6 episodes and we're really trying to lay down a backstory, like, give the viewer more of what they want. And we don't want more Bene Gesserit. We want more of this mysterious character we know nothing about. So
Put a 1 in the comments if you think that this is just going to be season 1, part 1, or something like that.
yeah. Well, I mean,
That's where it feels like it's going.
Well, even the books, like the book Dune, the first book is actually broken up into 3 books inside of one book. So, I mean, it makes sense that everything's broken up into parts now, but I just don't like it as the viewer. I want more, right?
Instant gratification.
Yeah. A little bit of that entitlement, what was the first world entitlement, as you will.
I think we should call it Netflix entitlement because they dropped the full series when it comes out.
They did. They disrupted and changed the way we view, right? Where we used to sit and wait every week for the new episode to drop, which is really what we're back at now, which is kind of creating more anticipation, more room to talk, which I gotta like. But there is definitely an appeal to being able to sit down and basically watch an 8-hour movie.
Yeah,
Right.
I've got free Saturday. Let's binge it.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Sweet.
But anyway, I think it's very interesting that the Bene Gesserit are scared, and we're seeing a piece in history where they're not necessarily as powerful as we see them when they show up on Dune, right? They're this very powerful entity when we meet them. And with Paul, right now, they're very shaky. Like, they don't even know if they have power. They just got thrown out of the capital. She's not even allowed to set foot in the capital city anymore. She's banned, right? Because of the most recent activity where the voice didn't work, right? So now she's exposed, she's out. And so they're going back into the shadows to kind of like reestablish themselves in the major houses so they don't lose what little control they have left. But I thought what was really interesting was the fact that we found out that the Bene Gesserit, not only is it based on a lie because of the murder and all of that, but they are literally building an entire society and religion and universe off of AI, when AI is supposed to be the one thing in the universe no one can use. It's like literally like,
No.
yeah, it's in the book, right? Which I thought that was interesting too.
I was expecting it. That part, anyway. Part that got me was they spoon-fed in your face, and that's why I was like, yeah, no, I can't trust this if they're gonna spoon-feed me this right now. Talking about he will die, or they will die once and then be reborn again through spice or whatever.
I don't think they'd say die. They just say he'll be born twice, once through blood and once through spice.
About the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's what they force-fed you, Damon, right?
Desmond, yeah.
Desmond. See, talking about Game of Thrones.
I called him Damon in the beginning of the last episode too, but then I switched it to Desmond for the rest of the episode. I noticed it when I rewatched the beginning. I'm like, I said Damon anyway. But yeah, it's very spoon-fed. But here's the thing. Born twice could mean a lot of different things. You could be talking about Paul, who we see in the movie when he kills Jameis. It's supposed to be the death of Paul and the birth of Muad'Dib, right? The birth of his feminine person with the blue eyes, which would be the birth of Spice. So they could be talking about Paul. They could be talking about Desmond all the way back in this time in this prophecy. So the prophecy is such a large overarching thing that we don't even see come to fruition until way down in the books, right?
I thought we just saw this one come to fruition, or at least teased at the very end. No?
The true prophecy, the true like prophecy that it's based off of, that the Bene Gesserit go and spread throughout the universe, and it's at Haderach and all of that, like the true being that could be in all times at all places at once, like that person that they're talking about, this supreme being that they're like doing.
I thought they were talking about just the born twice thing for that's what they're going through right now.
So this is all laying prophecy into what we know today, into the movies.
Oh,
So they're all the same thing. All that, yeah. Well, no, they're not. They're not.
they're not?
They're not. No, because if you truly know the full stretch of it, then it's multiple times will we believe we have our prophet when we don't.
Okay. I feel like I just got fucked in the brain.
Probably did. Both ears and the nose.
Because I thought they were talking about her because at the, what's her name? Layla?
Lila? The one who's supposedly dead, but
Yeah.
being kept alive by the AI right now.
Yeah, that's where they left off at the end of the episode, was like the AI bringing her back to life with just right amount of spice.
Well, so spice is used to like enhance human beings, right? Mentats, Space and Guild, Bene Gesserit, basically everybody who has an ability is done through spice. So spice unlocks things for you.
Yeah, the one woman, when Tula is watching over the little girl, she's like, we already know what to do. We have to kind of kill her. Can't just keep giving people hope, right? She's already gone. Mm-hmm. She mentioned something along the lines of Valya even drinks the tea every single day for when she's stressed and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. She consumes it every day.
For clarity, right?
It helps her reconnect, yeah. No, it is. So in the book, whenever Paul drinks spice or eats it, because it's basically on everything in Arrakis, right? They consume it on everything, food, drink, it's in everything. So whenever he consumes large like quantities of it, it puts him into premonition, like into his future sight, which he hates because all he can see is the jihad that he will create, the thousands and thousands of lives that will ultimately be taken because of what he creates, right? So he hates that. Like he doesn't like going there because it reminds him of the thing he's trying to run away from. But I think it does the same thing for a lot of people when they consume spice. They almost like get these premonitions, these like visions. But Paul, because of his training and who he is and the genetics and all of the things that make him like supposedly the supreme being, I think he has a little bit more of that like future sight where he's like all prescient, because that's what the Kwisatz Haderach is supposed to be. It's supposed to be the person who is present in all time, like can see everything, is present in time. Time is fluid to them. So all places at once, something like that.
What did you think of Valya doing that ritual, that pain ritual thing with the dropper?
Going into the agony?
Yeah, the agony. Thank you.
Yeah.
What'd you think of her doing that in a completely different setting than being around the other sisters and stuff? Was that supposed to mean something exceptional?
Only that she was willing to do it. They did make a connection for us there, because when Valya leaves Tula and says to her, you know what you need to do? You need to put Lila into the agony. And she says to her, I know you can do it. You've guided others before. That was a direct nod to the scene we saw in this episode where Tula shows up and pulls her out of the darkness into the light again.
Okay.
So when Valya said that, Valya says it to Tula in the previous episode, she's speaking from experience. Like, hey, you've already done it for me. I know you can do it for her. What I thought was like a pretty cool connection they made for us there. But I don't know if there's the significance of that is she survives the ritual, where, you know, most people don't. Right, you gotta be pretty strong to survive all of those consciousness coming at you at once.
Yeah, that'd be quite intimidating. Yeah. At least a lot of PTSD after that too.
Especially when not every one of the consciousnesses that you awaken are there for your benefit, right? Some of them would much rather get a second chance and just possess your body and get a second run at life again.
Can you clear something up for me real quick? All those people that they see, they have to be bloodline related, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So you unlock your lineage, basically.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
A skill tree. of knowledge.
I like to look at it like, you're familiar with Avatar: The Last Airbender, not Avatar James Cameron. Okay, because when an Avatar in that universe, when an Avatar is born, they basically get all the knowledge and consciousness when they go into the spirit form of all the previous avatars. So it's kind of like you become like the most knowledgeable person. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so back into Dune. She does survive the ritual, which technically makes her a Reverend Mother now, because she's officially altered poison into a non-lethal chemical, makes herself a Reverend Mother, which there's a couple of things that she does during this episode that we don't necessarily see. She takes the pledge where she chooses in, which we don't actually see. We only ever see her stand in the rain, and the Mother Superior comes and gets her, and they have that conversation, but we never see her actually choose in, but she does. And then we see her complete the ritual, which ascends her up a rank from Acolyte into, the next rank up, but we never actually like see all of that officially happen. We just kind of meet her, and when we meet her in episode 1, she's like becoming the leader of everybody, right? So it's like we didn't see these steps before. So I thought that was kind of interesting that they were kind of filling in the gaps.
So Valya and Tula's father.
Yep. Who is the current Baron? When we meet him, he's a Baron.
Okay, I'm thinking of in the flashback was when we first saw.
Yeah.
Right.
You meet him.
He was like, I thought he was governor or something.
Is he just the governor
of that community? Because she's talking about the fall from stature.
Could have sworn he still had the rank of Baron though. He was just like a Baron of a frozen wasteland now. Is basically what it was.
He was like mayor or something. Okay, that's all he was. That's why Valya was so pissed. She's like, we've fallen from grace. We need to get our name back.
Yeah.
And she was mad that everybody else was just happy to be where they were at, and she wanted more.
Yeah. They wanted the feud to end with them. They didn't see any positives coming from continuing to try to like clear their name. She was the only one.
Yeah, we see how that turned out.
Yeah. Wow.
But what I want to know is, we were watching and he was in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
The floating wheelchair thing, right? Is that like a nod to the future Harkonnen?
Correct. Yes.
Can it possibly be the same person?
It is not. No. Vladimir is so Vladimir Harkonnen, who is the Baron that we meet, who is like the most corrupt, evil, like just twisted dude. He's not alive yet. Doesn't exist yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether they've got these abilities where they can live thousands of years or something like that.
They do. They do have an extended life. Like, so there's treatments and spice and different things that people can do that will extend their life.
Nice.
That will extend their life, like that black tar stuff that he soaks himself in the movie, the Baron, that you see him like come in and out of. That's like healing him. So that's like a treatment that he does. So it allows him to extend his life and live longer. So does the suspension stuff. Otherwise, obviously, his weight would kill him. But what you see when she goes to that and visits her uncle is like a nod to where the family is going. And because that uncle is not necessarily as evil and as corrupt as the Baron himself will be. Just like a total nod to like the future of that house and where they're going.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, but again, not familiar with all the lore and everything involved in this universe. That's why I didn't know whether it could possibly be the same person.
It isn't, no.
Okay.
They're different.
That helped clear things up for me for sure. So why do you think we didn't see Desmond in this episode?
Because there just wasn't enough runtime. There has to be a reason why we're spending so much time laying into the backstory of the Sisterhood and specifically the Harkonnen, right? Also, there is the Atreides that keeps popping up that we have not gotten necessarily a like delivery on. And so one theory could be that Desmond Hart is not Desmond Hart. Desmond Hart is actually either a face dancer, which is an ability where someone can swap faces and stuff like that, or
I think you talked about that in the last two. Yeah, so right.
Or somehow has altered his appearance, or no one just knows what he looks like, but he's actually an Atreides. That could also be a theory.
Could it be that same boy?
It wouldn't be the boy. It would be an older. So there's an Atreides. I can't think of his name. Just like every now and again I get these like brain farts, right? But it starts with a V. It'll come to me before the end of the episode. But he is the Atreides who is accredited for like the final battle of the AI war. He's the one who called their Harkonnen ancestor, their great-grandfather, the traitor, said he abandoned his posts when really apparently he was trying to prevent the genocide or whatever they were talking about at the table of this episode. But it's the Harkonnen, this particular Atreides, that is the reason the Harkonnens are disavowed, looked at, as traitors, as deserters, as people less than. And so whoever this person is, he keeps like disappearing and reappearing and disappearing and reappearing, like falling off the face of the earth. So it's like no one really knows who he is or where he is. So could this mysterious person be him?
Oh no, I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
If you've got theories along the lines of the same as us or vastly different, please let us know in comments. Love to hear your thoughts, because I think a lot of us are on the same page. Some of you may be diehard fanboys of this. Others may be more like me and just getting into this universe. Either way, still love to hear feedback.
Vorian Atreides is the name. He is the one who's accredited with first using the hawk as a symbol for the house, and he is the first person to truly hold the title of House Atreides after the war. So, and he's the one who I think either we're going to get some great reveal about this particular person, and we're going to get a bunch of knowledge on the house itself, because they're kind of just right now as we know them. There's the Blade Master, the Sword Master guy, who's kind of in love with the Empress late, who is Bene Gesserit. But then we get the flashback, which we should talk about here in a second, where we get to meet a group of hunters, basically, in the woods, who we come to find out it's Atreides. They're all Atreides. And we really quickly realize why Tula is actually there. So what did you think of that scene? Did you think it was going to go the way it went? Did you think Tula was just living her life? Fell in love.
I didn't have that same connection of who it was at first. Yeah. No, I did not think that at all. But I did notice the parallels between the Atreides and the Harkonnen. They're both hunters, just in different environments. The ones are essentially whale hunters. I don't know what those giant furry
They're whales, yeah.
Furry whales.
Yeah, they use the meat and the fur from that to build their enterprise.
Yeah, but that's what I was asking. They're just furry whales? Yeah. Okay. Like woolly mammoths, but whales.
Woolly whale.
There's some clarity there.
Yeah.
But I thought it's really cool that they're showing, in my opinion, that they are the same.
Yeah.
And neither side realizes it.
Yeah, their feud it's like a centuries-old feud that they don't even know why they're mad at each other anymore. They're just raised to be mad at each other kind of thing.
Well, what's that famous one from West Virginia or something?
Oh, I was thinking Romeo and Juliet, but West Virginia's. That works too.
Well, they've got these big old family feuds all the time.
Oh, Hatfields and McCoys.
Thank you. Yes. See, I knew you'd get there.
Yeah, eventually. Is that West Virginia? I don't know where they're from. I just know.
That's just what I think. If I was thinking backwoods, so goes to West Virginia.
Just two angry families.
I'm sorry, West Virginia. Sometimes you deserve the hate, other times not so much, but you're safe with Florida.
So, is she the only woman at the camp? She's the only woman at the camp that I remember seeing.
I wasn't thinking about that.
So I thought it was strange at first, because I'm like, okay, he's bringing her to his village. Awesome. But then I was like, wait a second. It's more like a hunting camp. And it's more like they're out on a hunt, right? Because they're hunting the bull in that scene. And they're prepping it to lure it in and doing all these different things that they're doing and she's talking about how you have to lure it in. So I thought it was strange. It's she's the only woman there. And it was the first time she was meeting the family. And I was like, this is not going to go well for her. Things are going to go pretty bad. And maybe that's why she goes to the Bene Gesserit. And then ultimately ends up becoming a poison master. Did not at all end up the way I thought it was.
So when you said things were going bad, thing that I pictured is bunch of people behind a woman on a couch type thing, or some crossover between that and some weird Game of Thrones sex.
Yes, I was very much referring to a Game of Thrones style scene where things would go very badly for her and ultimately lead her to go to the Bene Gesserit and become a sister. Yeah.
Forget the Pegasi thing.
At that point, just Valya had left. It was forced to leave. Tula was still just living her life, basically forgotten by her family. So she was just living her life. But it turns out she's actually on a secret mission by her sister to hunt down and find the Atreides line and wipe them out. It does it in a very elegant way. She creates poison and turns it into paint, and then they all wear it, and then they die. So it has to be because of the poison when she injects it into the horse head, like pretty quick. Almost instant. When she injects it into him, almost instant. So she must have either diluted it or because it's soaking in through the skin and not being ingested. So it's slow acting. Because when he comes out of the tent and he looks at the bodies, you can tell that when they did die, it happened pretty quickly. Because the bodies kind of just fell. But it took a while for it to happen. So that's what I was like, it must have been some sort of slow release. But then it also lets you understand just how knowledgeable Tula is with poison. Like, she's a master of poison. It's kind of crazy to see. And very devious, manipulative, and easily to like deceive another person. Because no one knew her intentions up until the very end. Which I was like, interesting. We never saw that cunning side of her. We always just saw her as the little sister of the evil woman. We didn't realize just how evil she could be too.
The more innocent.
But is she though?
Yeah, clearly not anymore.
She's got it inside of her not to be, for sure.
But then again, anyone can be pushed to those limits.
Yeah, but it didn't take much pushing to get her there.
Loss of her brother?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that definitely would push most people to a level of anger.
And then the whispers of Valya in her ear?
I think that was ultimately, her sister manipulating that grief is what drove her to do that. Yeah. So there's a lot of emphasis on backstory in this episode. A lot of sharing of how Valya came up into the Sisterhood, wasn't necessarily a good acolyte, wasn't exactly accepted at first, but did become a quick favorite. Got to see her get her revenge, which then, does that ultimately, in your opinion, shift her, right? So she wasn't able to, in order for her to become full Bene Gesserit, she has to give up her loyalty to her house. But she's unable to really do that until she gets revenge for her brother. And after the revenge of her brother, do you think now she's able to focus on being Bene Gesserit and not so much on getting revenge for her family being wronged?
I don't think that we can separate those two things in either of the sisters' characters.
You don't think they can?
No.
They're just going to be family feud their whole life?
Yes.
Okay. Just curious if that's something that you thought maybe, because her shift does she does say to her sister, our purpose is different now. Their mission, their goal does shift. It does become, making the Sisterhood as powerful as it can be and putting a sister on the throne so they can have control.
I still don't think they can separate those two things.
What do you guys think in the comments? Do you think she's just going to keep on pursuing family feud revenge and making sure the Harkonnen's name is secure? Or is she now on the Bene Gesserit path, looking to build and control the universe with their supreme being? Interesting.
Who do you think is their supreme being?
It's who they're trying to create. That's why they're collecting all of the genetic codes.
That's what you're talking about. Got it. Okay.
It's what Paul's supposed to be, right? He's given to us as this supreme being, the one who can be in all places at once and access the memories of both the men and female of his lineage. But will he? We'll see. I don't want to ruin anything moving forward. We'll see. All right, you guys, that is a wrap for our episode 3 discussion. Just want to give a quick thank you to everyone who is subscribed. We are about to hit 6,000 subscribers. It's been an absolute amazing growth and journey. Really excited you guys are loving this content. We'll be dropping new Dune videos every week, as well as Silo at the end of the week. We're doing 2 videos a week now. Really enjoying this. If you guys have any suggestions on other shows we should be checking out, other things that you'd like us to review, always looking to hear from you guys. Love your feedback. Love that you guys are having a conversation with us inside the comments. Love you guys' predictions and theories as well. It's been great to read them, interact with you guys a little bit in there. And as always, if you're looking to win the $50 gift card for November, which actually just ended, rolling into December, so this is your last chance. This video, I'm gonna let you guys get this video. Comment on this video, as well as be subscribed to the channel in order to enter to win a $50 gift card for December. We'll do a live drawing at the end of this week. But Other than that, if you guys are enjoying the content, as always, subscribe so you can get instant notifications. Ding that little bell, set it to all so that you never miss a single drop. And we have an amazing playlist here as well. If you're really enjoying it, you'll enjoy this playlist. Maybe if sci-fi and all that isn't your thing, we've done some other stuff as well on Netflix that maybe you'll enjoy that isn't necessarily sci-fi or fantasy based. You might enjoy that. And then there's some other stuff that you might enjoy up here as well. But as always, don't forget to subscribe. My name is Chris, and with me,
Nope.
Find the strength hiding in each battle scar. You're not who you were, you've already come far.